श्रीमती हरसिमरत कौर बादल।
Thank you, sir. Sir, at the time of signing the 123 agreement, it was made clear that India would have to follow the terms of the nuclear suppliers group, which entailed a new act to be enacted where nuclear vendors selling reactors to India would be immune from any kind of liability. And it seems that in its present form, the bill that we are trying to pass today gives the impression of doing exactly this. It totally indemnifies the supplier of the nuclear plant and channelizes the entire responsibility onto the operator and ensures that the supplier has no responsibility in the share of the safety concerns of the operator, especially if these concerns come to light after the plants have been supplied or the equipment has been supplied. Insulating the supplier from the responsibility means that once they have persuaded the operator of the quality of the equipment, they are not liable for any problems that may occur after that. And I feel that by doing this, it will lead to greater risks where suppliers may try to, in order to keep their costs down, their profits high, they may compromise on safety. And compromising on this safety may lead to a nuclear accident, but the supplier will be absolved of any kind of liability according to this bill in case a mishap occurs. In clause 17 of the recourse against suppliers seems to be designed with entirely the supplier's priorities in mind. By saying that the recovery of damage from the supplier will only be after the proof of the intent to cause damage, I think sounds absurd, because first of all, anyone intending to cause damage ensures that his tracks are covered and no fingers point towards him. Yes. And secondly, if the damage is already done, the purpose is achieved, what is the use of then finding fault with him? He's already achieved his purpose. So I feel that this too needs to be changed. Thirdly, I would say that clause 2 of the bill says that the nuclear damage has to be notified by the government. Clause 6 says that the government is the one that can increase the overall cap after notification. The extent of the damages will also be decided by the government. The government will have to pay the further amount if it exceeds 1,500 crores. And at present, all nuclear liabilities, nuclear plants are also owned by the government. So I think there is a total conflict of interest where the government decides everything, decides to notify, decides to increase the cap, and then the government itself has to pay. So I think this clause also needs to be changed, where an independent body should be given the responsibility of deciding all these points. The main point that I would like to come to, sir, that in case of a nuclear disaster, where the lives of people and property of this nation are concerned, there is no monetary liability that can match it, leave alone 1,500 crores. Where if you look at countries like Japan, where for the same liability, it's 1.2 billion US dollars that they take, this 1,500 crores seems like a joke, because today 1,500 crores may be a lot of money. But 20 years down the line, when 1,500 crores does not have that value and the population is much more than today, will there be a body that will decide how this amount keeps increasing everywhere and ensure this? So I would like to point out to you that a study was conducted by Sandia National Laboratory, which is a US-based laboratory, in 1982 on a nuclear plant called the Indian Point Nuclear Plant near New York. And they did a study that in the worst case scenario, what could the worst damage be? And in the study in 1982, they found that just the property damage of the worst case scenario would amount to almost 274 billion to almost $314 billion, which is more than the entire budget of this government today. What I'm trying to say is that in case of an accident, it can be of any amount. It can be a big accident, it can be a small accident. But is our government today equipped to even pay this compensation that we are talking about in case the damages are so great? So, sir, I would like to say that if we talk about preparedness of the one is whether the government has the means to give this compensation, but I would before that like to come to the preparedness of this country for disasters. Sir, there are floods, there are cyclones, there are typhoons, there are tsunamis. And I would say that if we look at the preparedness of our country, not even the basic warning equipment is in place. We forget about mitigation, relief, habilitation, and all the things which come after that. We don't even have the basic equipment to foresee these things be it a Bhuj earthquake, be it a Leh cloudburst, be it a tsunami, be it a flood, be it a drought, sir, anything. Even to the extent, sir, I would say that today most of the municipalities in our country don't even have a fire brigade, where in case of a man-made fire, if they want to call up, they don't even get an answer on the phone for the fire brigade, leave alone the natural disasters. So if today we do not even have a preparedness for these natural disasters, so today in Delhi, every child knew that in the coming monsoon season, there was going to be dengue and there was going to be malaria. I would like to know what was the preparedness of this government. Today, so many people are dying of dengue. In spite of having hospitals, manpower, logistics, the government cannot function because it doesn't have the necessary works in place to avoid this. So this is the preparedness of our country, of our government regarding natural disasters. So the point, sir, I would like to come to is that when we cannot, when we are not prepared for natural disasters, man-made disasters, where are we prepared for a nuclear disasters, which is of a huge scale, which we cannot even begin to comprehend about it. Sir, today we are talking about nuclear power and nuclear fuel. There are various other things. If we look at the Government of India statistics, the power generating capacity, total installed capacity of our country is 1,62,366 megawatt. The Government of India itself says that the untapped capacity of our country in just
Please wind up, madam. Please.
So I will cut it short and come to the point that today there are many other renewable energy sources which do not carry these kind of hazards. There is untapped potential in our country for these things.
Right.
And so what I would like to say in the end is, first of all, what about the environment concerns? Today, sir, nuclear waste is so dangerous that it gives the biggest problem in not just in our country, entire world and entire environment. Where are the environmentalists now? Today, the radioactive waste, sir, they can cause danger which lasts up to several million years. There is no proper way of even getting rid of this nuclear waste.
Please wind up.
Countries are pouring number of gallons of atomic
There are many
nuclear
speakers
waste
yet to
into our
speak, madam.
rivers, sir.
6:30, we have to wind up, please.
Sir, there are discharges from hundreds of plants world over by radium and thorium which have lives of 1,600 to 75,000 years. Do we even think of this? And sir, my last point which I want to say is, what about the security of these nuclear things? Today, just 80 tons of plutonium can make 10,000 nuclear bombs. How are we going to ensure the security of all this? And who is going to pay for ensuring the security of all this, as some of it does not get profiltrated and used and come into wrong hands? So I would just like to say in the end that while I oppose this bill in its present form, I would like to say that...
Please wind up, please wind up. Please.
Sir, I would just like to say
nothing will go on record except
that
our speech.
instead of
Please
being
wind up,
in a
please
mad
wind up.
rush to meet the deadline to please certain superpowers, we should remember it is the slow and steady that wins the race. Absolute, stringent and high liability clauses must be put in place to ensure total responsibility from A to Z. Each link of the chain must know what is his liability and
You
what
start,
is his
otherwise I can call next person.
so
If you are not
that
speaking,
millions
please.
of
You
people
speak.
who have no say in this bill but are going to be the worst sufferers in
Nothing
case
will
of
go
a
on record. Only Prasad Singh's speech will go on record.